3, 2, 1, go!
Hello there folks, you join me today in the Ispalian job, and it's the 27th of July. Very rarely do we ever meet in July, very, very rarely indeed, but today we do, and we're going to kick things off by talking through some transfers and letting you know that Luca is set to join Werder Bremen for £14 million. The 27-year-old midfielder has been here for a little while now, but I'm wondering if we move him on for however well-rounded he is, for whatever good leadership he shows, we can potentially bring in someone with more potential. Maybe not someone as good as Luca right now, but someone with a little bit more potential. So as we progress, hopefully towards those Champions League places, he can be one of the players that moves on, and someone better fills his spot, and that's kind of the aim of the game with Spell so far. But what you're probably wondering isn't about Luca. You're thinking, is Dorian Heiser still here? Who have you brought in at striker? Has Renzi rejoined the club? What's going on with everybody else at the team? Well, there's been movement. Let's talk about the movement. But today we're going to see a lot more movement. So today is essentially going to be a transfer-ish episode. You can see we've got just under 9 million in the bank. With the money from Luca, we'll have about 20 million-ish, give or take a million either side. We'll have a really healthy overall balance as well. And that means that I've already spent a little bit of money. We had 20 million to begin with, so 12 million's already gone out. And most of it was spent on one player. The return of Sebastian Spira. Now, I've managed somehow to sign Sebastian Spira for 26k a week for £7 million from Juventus. He's had 2 very successful loan spells with us, and I just felt he was the right partner at this stage for Dorian Heiser. I'd ideally like to have gone for someone like Emmanuel Renzi, but they want 162 million to Juventus, and I don't know if you noticed that from the transfer budget. I don't have 162 million. But Spira comes in as a 4-star player, 4-star potential as well, so he's pretty much, this is as good as he's ever going to get. But my God, you look at those mentals on a 22-year-old, the physicals as well as his finishing stats, penalty taking. He's the perfect kind of striker that you want in your side alongside Dorian Heiser. You want 2 goal-scoring strikers, and I think with someone like Sebastian Spira, that's what you get. 13 in the first season, 16 this season, next to Dorian. If you're next to Dorian Heiser, you ain't going to get all the goals. Dorian Heiser is. And speaking of Mr. Dorian, he's still with the club. He's now on 6.5k a week. Wanted currently by Porto, Gladbach, Leicester, Tottenham, and minor interest from Real Madrid. There was offers that came in from Crystal Palace, bid for him. Red Bull Leipzig with 44 million for Dorian Heiser. With 2 years left on his contract, my objective here, and this is, I'm going to gamble big time. We are going to try and get into the Champions League this year, made difficult by the fact that there are only 3 Champions League spots in the league this year. We might have to just win the Europa League. And then, at that point, just say to him, just stay, Dorian, and he'll go, okay, I'll stay. That'll all be fine, and he'll be on 150 grand a week or something stupid. Currently, there's 7 positives and 1 negative on Dorian. We've had 3 chats that went well, so that's looking good. He's looking forward to leaving the club, which isn't a good positive. He's going to be very disappointed come September, and he also wants to move to a club with a stronger squad, and that comes down now to some more transfers. What have we been up to? So far, Yosu and Pozovec have left. Pozovec, of course, went to Real Madrid, is now valued at 6 million. Will probably be their 3rd, 4th choice keeper, I'm not sure. And as you can see from the rest of the transfers, aside from Sebastian Spira, we've gone cheap, I dare say. There's some names there that you're probably either smiling or laughing at, and we'll get to those in a moment. First of all, though, Luis Pinheiro, I think that's how you'd say it. We've brought him in, 23-year-old Portuguese player. Spent a lot of time at Benfica. Braga bought him for 98,000. He had a decent-ish season, I think, for them, and we've brought him in for 525k. And I think for the stats that he's got, while I will admit to you now, he's not a world beater, but his stamina's very good, tackling's very good, marking's good, and at 13 crossing with 12 dribbling, with the mentals on him, I actually think he's a really good addition to the team. 3-star player. For the price we've got him at, you won't find many better than him for cheaper. Trust me, I looked. Romeo comes in on a free transfer. 31-year-old Spaniard has spent a long time at Southampton, of course, starts the game there, and has been playing consistently for them in the Premier League. Now, Southampton, still a Premier League side, so he keeps them up or keeps them in the Premier League year on year. I think to get him on a free transfer, 36 grand a week, while he's not the best player anymore, with the Europa League with us now, we need to have some experienced heads in the side. It's one thing we didn't necessarily have too many of. And that brings me on to Neto. With Pozovec leaving and Rico taking his start as the starting goalkeeper, I wanted to bring someone in that I could rely on if absolutely needs be. 34 years of age, Neto has spent a long time in Italy at Fiorentina and more recently Juventus. Doesn't play many games, is often seen as a backup and will come to us just as that. 12 grand a week, I think, for a goalkeeper like Neto who knows the league, he knows football, I think is a decent little purchase from me. Now this, Parma fans will like this. This is a throwback player. We've brought Ezequiel Munoz into the side. I had him at Parma in Parma Drama, and I think, I've got to be honest, 32 years of age, right? We've got him on a free transfer. He played a little bit for Napoli last year. He's on £23,000 a week. Those stats are not bad. Like, for example, he's pretty similar to Scrivani in many ways, like pace-wise and all sorts. Mentally very good, still got good heading, marking, tackling. Of course, that 12 passing goes under the radar a little bit, but I really like it. Positioning still very good. His mentals across the board are very good. Strength too. And Ezequiel Munoz, back in my control, which I quite like. Speaking of players in my control, sort of, Mario Balotelli's joined, 10 grand a week as a backup. He's not prolific. He's just spent some time in League 2 where he got 2 goals in 13, as you can probably rightly assume, not that good. Did have a little spell at Napoli, which got him a £10 million move to West Brom. I don't know either. And you can see from his attributes, he's not finished. Can still run a little bit. I think as a backup striker, we're looking to sell Gutklou at the moment. So Mario Balotelli comes in, 2-star current ability, and he's Italian international, only 32. He's fantastic. I think we can all agree on that. We've also brought in Daniele Verdi on loan for this season. We tried to get him a previous point, but we didn't quite get a hold of him. I think it was when he went to Atalanta. But if I ever change the system up and want to play wingers, Verdi's the kind of player that I absolutely need to play out on that left-hand side. So there he is, looking decent. I think pacey, out wide, winger. I mean, play both sides. It's fine. So that then brings us back to Luca and the fact we're going to sell him right now for £40 million. I think £40 million for a man that we bought for £3.7 million. He's a very solid player, but I just think we can get slightly better. I mean, the midfield we've got quite now, it's quite young, it's quite hungry. I want to give them more opportunities, and you've got to really get rid of a player like Luca to do just that. Currently on 35 grand a week, to get off the wage bill as well, gives us a little bit more room to manoeuvre. Let's look at the squad then. So going into this season, this is what the team is likely going to look like. We're probably going to stick with the diamond. We're probably going to stick with a lot of the players that we had last season. Rico, of course, now comes in goal. And there's him and Makopi sort of in a forward area that we want to look at. This is a huge season for Rico. If he doesn't perform this year, there's an argument to say we need to move him on. But with 2.5-star current ability, lots of potential there too. If we give him a full season, we could be looking at a 3.5-star player come the end of the season. And at that point, we're looking at maybe a 4-star keeper overall, and that's what you're looking for, especially in a league like Serie A. Speaking of those players in forward areas then, Marcopi is the one. He's in the exact same situation as Rico. This is a huge season for him. Whether he gets opportunities or not, I'm not entirely sure. With us being in the Europa League now, there'll certainly be more games for him to play, and it'll be between him and Bon Jovi for who nails down that spot. Bon Jovi, of course, already currently the better player and still with some potential, so you don't want to waste that. But Bon Jovi's not sort of 29, end of the career kind of thing. He's 23. You want to be giving him games. And in the midfield then, Centeno, Batista and Miranda, we're now going to train Centeno to play as a box-to-box midfielder. He's already got attributes that could suit it quite well, I think. His stamina may be the only concern. Everything else I think he'll probably be alright at. If we trade him in these areas, I think he'll be okay. Finishing might be a concern, but first touch, passing, tackling, work rate might be the biggest issue. I mean, trying to train a box-to-box midfielder with 8 work rate might be a problem, but I don't really see a spot in which he fits in. We could play him as the playmaker, maybe play Batista there, but again, it's not that much different, and I think the creative qualities that you get from Batista makes him a better option for that playmaker role. So that's the issue we've got. And overall, I think the squad's okay. Selling Luca, of course, means we're not done. The transfer window is not closed. There are things to be moved around and maybe moved on. Gutklou being the main one of those at around £6 million maybe. Equally, someone might come and bid for Dorian with an extortionate rate. 200 million is the price. Let's have it. Now, the issue we've got, now I've sold Luca, right? I want to try and sign Victor Bastos from Liverpool for about £6-7 million. We agreed a deal. We got into the contract talks, and I blew it. So we now can't get him. The worst part about that is he's now chatting with Feyenoord about all sorts, and now he won't talk to me, as you can see, but that might change in the near future. I got Heiser on the charm offensive. I've done everything I can. I've also looked at Luke Shaw as a loan deal. I really like Barloco, and I know people will look at that and go, is that an area we need to strengthen? Yes, it is. He's 2.5-star, but I'm a little bit split on this because Barloco puts in 7.3, 7.18, 7.2 performances year in, year out. So It's the kind of situation where, do I really need to improve on a player that's already playing really well? I mean, attribute-wise, you'd say, yeah, definitely get someone else in. But at 28, mentally, he's improving every day. Physically, he's probably declining ever so slightly. And technically, he's not going to get much better than this. So, it's difficult with Barloco. Very difficult. Just because you've not seen him in a while, Ruben Diaz looks phenomenal, as he always does, 26 years of age, and Scrivani is coming along nicely as well. Them two will certainly be the partnership for this season. Also, a little shout out to 17-year-old Dinelli. He's been tutored by Ruben Diaz currently and is improving all the time. I don't know if his potential's gone up. I can't remember him being an absolute 5-star player, but with a little bit of tutoring, with a little bit of time, could become very, very good. He's 5'10", so maybe not cut out to be a centre-back, but maybe a full-back. His heading, again, also a bit of an issue, as is his jumping reach. So, I don't know. Defender in the future, though. Keep an eye out. Dinelli will be in the squad a lot more this year, so you'll probably see a bit of him. Now, I'm going to cut this transfer window up into 2 bits. We're going to play the first few games of the pre-season. We've already played one so far in pre-season. It was a 3-1 win. Spirit and Heise with the goals. Dorian Heise scoring 2 free kicks in that one. And you can see I've been on the hunt recently. I've been in Brazil, most notably, looking for players to come in to maybe replace Luca. There's so many really nice options, like Bruno Vinicius, right? 3.5-star current ability, 4-star potential. There's always so many cons with these Brazilians. I don't know if it's just because we don't know enough about them, but this is the kind of guy that long-term I would like to bring in. Sadly, though, he's on loan somewhere else. I just want to see if he was any good. And there's quite a lot of players like this that we can maybe bring in. This guy, defender, this guy could be unbelievable. Nicolas Gonzalez. I just think 21 years of age, River Plate, looks pretty good. But yeah, we've been on the hunt, we've been on the scout, and we've found a few players here and there, but no one so far that I can nail down and actually bring in. This curtain's annoying me. We're going to have to... It's a bit bright. I think I just closed that curtain and nothing happens. Now, good clue. Tenerife are interested in him. They don't seem that interested in him. I mean, they're a top division club in Spain, though, so they may well put a little bid in. He's wanted by 15 clubs, none of which want to buy him, all of which want to loan him. Offers made for Trent Alexander-Arnold. Now, there was an option for us to buy Trent Alexander-Arnold, and there is one key reason as to why I'm not going in for him. And you might think this is a really stupid reason, Ben. The reason is he picks up an extraordinary amount of yellow cards, and I consider who I've brought in for 525k, and I'm hoping to get similar performances out of him. Trent Alexander-Arnold, admittedly, very good defender, or good player, I should say. Could play in a number of positions. But I'm just sick of the amount of yellow cards he used to get. Like last season, 20. The season before that, 15. He's a suspension magnet. So I'm not getting him back. I've made the decision. And he fills the quota, of course. We did look at this guy, Purinani. He was going to cost about 6 million, but we just decided, no, I got a cheaper deal. That was all it was. Hopefully you like these transfer episodes. A lot sort of happens in them, or a lot has happened. There's a bit of explanation at the start, which takes a bit of time. But these are a bit, I don't know if they'll be longer or not really. It's basically the transfer window part 1. And I just thought for a week or so, I'd show you what happens within a transfer window. I'm sure there's some of you that think that I just pick out players at random and sign them, but you can see here, 727 players have been found and scouted. Not all of them, I should clarify, are interested. Over 200 aren't interested, but there's players out there that we've been looking at for a long time. Some of them I've been on these shortlists for a really long time, and I keep a track of them. We nearly signed Mesut Ozil this summer. That's fallen through. I just thought it would have been cool. That's all. I shouldn't do transfers. David Santon was also someone we almost brought in, but for 35 grand a week, I then had the realisation that I was bringing in David Santon for 35 grand a week, so turn that down. I actually managed the first friendly, but I've just said it so Phil Neville takes this one, so we can continue with the transfer window. Then we've got a full 7 days to see what happens. Next episode will probably be some transfer window stuff, as well as we get a 2-0 win there, as well as the charity shield in Italy. I can't remember, there's a name for it. The Super Coppa team final against Inter Milan, so that should be interesting. Scrivani and Heise with the goals in that one. Interesting. Heise decent in pre-season, looking good, trying to impress scouts on the teams probably. I shut this curtain, it did absolutely nothing. There we are, better. Okay, there's some cup draw stuff that doesn't really apply to us right now, and now people are talking about getting in Gutklu, which is quite nice. I'm not sure who's talking him up. The manager of Standard Liège is talking up Gutklu. Well, he can go out. I've put it at 5 million. We'll do it for his value, and surely someone values him there. I'll probably accept 4, maybe even 3.5. I just think he's someone that I might as well get off the wage bill, get a little bit of money for. He played 5 games for me last season. I don't think he's going to feature too much this season. Tenerife is still interested, but no. And now West Ham have loaned Luke Shaw. Feyenoord have signed. That's going to haunt me for a long time. I almost don't want to talk about it. We'll just ignore it. We'll just move on. That's literally my fault. And Luke Shaw, 28. I thought he would have been really good, but never mind. United wanted like 10% of his wages, which is 15 grand or something like that. It was worth it. The problem is, right, if you look at the team report and you look at the current lineup, we have, well, what is considered to be at least, not that many great players. 2 really good strikers in Ispalian and Heiser, and that might carry us through this season. We've only got one attacking midfielder in Bon Jovi, who's considered great in the midfield spots. Again, we've got Romeo and Santano, who are decent but not fantastic, and a similar story here. Miranda replaces Santano. And then at the back, 3 good defenders, Munoz, Scravani and Ruben Diaz, all very good defenders. It's just everywhere else is the problem. Now, that's based on current ability. If you look at potential ability, you can see all of a sudden a little bit more green throughout. Left wing, all of a sudden we've got someone with the potential. I guess that counts as Bon Jovi again on both sides. Disappointing. And Dorian Heiser. But at right back, I mean, that's the exciting thing. We've got this Danelli guy coming through, as well as Pinheiro, who might be decent for us this season. And also on the great list is Rico. Could be really good. Of course, Makopi as well, another one in the centre. All of these guys could be good soon at some point, maybe. But that's the problem. The words that just came out of my mouth. They're like, could be good, maybe good. There's not that many dead certs. Sparta Prague want Guklu on loan for a year. They have to pay, let's say they have to pay 3.5. And what do they say to that? They've withdrawn. Okay, didn't go brilliantly, did it? We were looking at Traore as a centre-back option to come in for us this season. But 31, I didn't want to have to spend too much on his wages, and he wanted a fair amount, so we didn't go in. I should almost do these transfer windows as live streams, really. Simeone Bertaccini, something like that, from Young Boys. Looks decent. Composure's the only thing he's lacking. And, what? That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. That he's not being played. What? Just looks weird. I don't understand. But like he's out with a concussion, that would have put a spanner in the works. My copy's not going out on loan. Again, I want Guklu. I want money up front, really. I'm prepared to wait, though. We've just entered August, so there's still time. The squad is in a really interesting position, because we could go out and sign someone really good. He's on 160 grand a week. There's this guy who's also at United, who is Italian. If we missed out on Luke Shaw, if I bring in a guy like this guy, Federico Trevizzio, maybe, something like that, maybe we could let Cini go. I mean, cost-wise, it's probably worth it. When looking at Luke Shaw, this guy I don't think was available. He's got decent-ish crossing. Like 11's probably the lowest I would go to. Mentals are amazing for a 21-year-old, though. They bought him for Fiorentina for 3 million quite a while ago. He had a season last year with Gladbach, so he might be ready. Lots of assists as well, which suggests that his crossing is decent. Physically very good, 6 foot as well. And the fact he's Italian might give me the edge if we're going into a transfer battle with other teams. Sporting and Espanyol, the other side's in there. Maybe we could, but we'll see. That might be a smart choice. They've accepted our offer, and I guess we'll see. Nice have picked up Trent Alexander-Arnold. He's just not playing for Liverpool. Metz, Bournemouth, Norwich, Spal twice, and now Nice. He's good. I mean, and Liverpool are playing a 21-year-old French regen there who probably isn't as good. Him or Nathaniel Klein, who Trent's probably just as good as. Okay, another 4-0 win in a friendly. Dorian Heiser, Spira and Scaroni, I think they're only goal scorers in pre-season, are having a wonderful time. What's the situation with Benfica have come back? With Heiser, there's still teams interested, but we're not seeing any bids for him right now. It's almost like teams know I'm not going to sell and that he's valued at 200 million. I guess how much would be okay to accept for him? Like, he's the problem I've got, he's so important to the save. He's a major part of the save. And I don't want to let him go for cheap. If I'm going to let him go, I want it to be for essentially a lot of money. God, we're bigging up Barloco. Now I'm trying to bring in a fullback. If he wasn't Italian, I probably wouldn't have bothered so much. I look at my squad, and I think if there's one area that this is the issue. Do I let these players grow for a year? Players like Centeno, right? Currently at 3.5 star potential, could be 4, could be 4.5 star as a player if given the games. He's 21, right? This is, again, there's so many players. There's probably, I said 2 before, probably 3. Marcopi, him, Rico, that have got so much to prove this year, and if they fulfill the potential that I'm expecting, then we're fine. There's an argument to say, though, that we need another sort of deeper lying creative midfielder, and that's the kind of player we need. It's almost like I did almost get one of those from Liverpool and ended up going to Feyenoord because I'm an idiot. There's no one really on the loan list. I do like to look at the transfer list. I think you get better value generally for players if you do it this way. There's this guy who's Tunisian at Schalke. How much are they letting him go for? 9.5 million. Elias Shaqiri, I think you'd say it like that. I mean, I'm sure he's familiar to a lot of you. I'm not sure. He's not that good. Consistency-wise, he's got issues that I don't like. Tell you what, Douglas Santos would be a player, but he's on 115 grand a week. It's like Corric's available right now, as is Sterling, Bakayoko. We looked at Bakayoko before, and again, the issue being he's on 185 grand a week. He'd be perfect in my team, though. He'd fit the system and everything, but it's money. See, this is a list of the players that are like, all of us, I just did, just to show you, right? Boom. All of the good players, the star ratings kind of give it away, are not interested. I'm just going to scout all of them and not click their names by accident. I'm going to scout every single one of them and just see if any of them are remotely interested. Like this Pellegrini guy is listed by United. We're talking about playmakers that would be good in the middle. He's basically a better version of Luca. 10 million. He's on a big contract though. Oh, like you're looking at the wages for a lot of these boys. They're on some major big bucks that I cannot afford. The guy from Schalke is like the only one really. He could come into my side and be perfect. I think that's the conundrum right now. Like, do we get him on loan for a year, see if he's any good, put a future fee in of 9.5? I think we put a future fee in of like 7 million if we take him for a year. It's going to cost me quite a bit over the year, and then to sign him at the end of it for maybe 6.5. Let's see what they say. I think that's acceptable. I think this might be the option. To bring him in, to have him in the squad. And now we're getting all the loan reports for all these players. See, 9 million for a guy like that. He's pretty good. A lot of these players, I'm sure, won't be interested. Julian Draxler was on this. I didn't even notice him. Luga Scheid. Is he? Wow. He's fast, isn't he? Goodness gracious. Just listed at 54 million. Bit out of my price range. Sterling at 23. Again, out of the price range. Probably wouldn't go through him anyway. And that's all the players. That Pellegrini guy, you can see, he's unbelievably good. So he's got absolutely no interest in joining. Let's bid. I like an impossible challenge. One of our young fullbacks is going out on loan. He's not very good, hence you've never heard about him. And while the offer was accepted, he doesn't want to talk. Okay, I think before we get to this game, we're going to wrap things up. We've got lots of little bits and pieces going on. Again, we're going to scout all these guys too. Let me know in the comments, where do you think then we should be looking to improve? I will wait to listen to see what you suggest before we do this again. And the next episode will be that Inter Milan game in the Supercoppa Tim final just at the start of August. And then August continues, so there'll be lots more post that as well. I'll probably play a little bit in between that. I'll probably get this other friendly done and then start with the final and then do the rest of August with you next time. If you enjoyed today's video though, please do leave a like. If you want to see some more, subscribe to the channel. And well, there were no games today. There's lots of questions.